Lagos's Hot FM.
Today we are discussing addictions in men. From substance to drugs to gambling, addictions, all of it. Somebody actually told me, I think last week, he said, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm rather afraid of leaving. I've got my special guest in the studio with me today. He's a psychotherapist, he's a men's coach, a counselor, a keynote speaker, Dr. Temple Obike. She said that if you want to understand, the pain of people, right? Mm-hmm. You look at their life. So what are some of these root causes of addiction?
Research has shown that people who actually turn out to become addicts, when you look at it introspectively, you generally tend to find out that family background played a huge role. Either there was someone in the family who was an addict, or in the family, certain things that had happened in the family. Maybe you could sense maybe there was abuse as well in the family. You find out that these are certain things that can actually lead to an addiction. Another thing is also trauma, because at the root cause of most addiction cases, over 64% of them, you find out that trauma is there. Something they had gone through. It could be rape, it could be an accident, it could be anything, but anything that poses some form of trauma could also trigger an addiction. Our actions, what we decide to do, we should hold ourselves accountable.
Why do people don't stop from, you take one bottle, 2 bottles, and then you stop? Why do they continue that it now becomes an addiction?
You see, when it comes to addiction, as much as we look at it like something that is purely behavioral, but there's an aspect of addiction that I also think has a lot to do with emotion, because psychology teaches us about addiction, from an aspect, and that is the aspect most of us, most therapists, most medical doctors will approach addiction from. But when you are actually privy to see addicts in dens, there's a part of addiction that starts to stare you in the face, because at that point you start to understand that addiction is also an emotional thing. These are people who are trying to escape the problem.
Now you're getting there.
Yes. These are people who are also trying to escape a problem with a short-term solution. And because they are trying to escape a problem with a short-term solution, now they have preferred the solution which is short-term, which is now addiction. And at that point, it dawns on them that it's not enough, that they need more. And at this point, as an addict, something begins to happen to them. There's something called habituation, where 1 gram of what used to be okay for you suddenly isn't okay. You need to get to a point where you up the ante, and you keep upping it until you get to a point where you hear the term overdose.
What is this sports betting addiction, and how did people get that?
When it comes to sports betting, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And the moment the media began to glamorize it, then it became popular, for starters. Then the second thing, an addiction that becomes easy to access, or a craving that you have that is easy to assuage. It's so easy for you to now attend to it because of your mobile phone, for instance. Because now on your mobile phone, you can pick up a device, click on an app, and bet. Anything that is leveraged on a game of chance, leveraged on chance, where you have to do something and you have the chance of winning something else that is larger than what you put in, you need to be careful, because there's something it does to your brain. It is called habituation. There's an excitement created when you know there's a chance of winning something more than what you put in. And as much as you keep losing, you keep doing it because of that excitement that has been created. I don't want to go into the chemical balances and imbalances, but there's something that happens to your brain. And the more you leverage on it, which is why for every 10 games you are going to play and you lose 9 and win 1, the fact that you won 1 pushes you to lose another 19 so that you can win 1.